They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
First of all, don't tell me what to do. Ding dong.
That's right, infidels. It's time for the Monday Locker Room. Hameen Media Group, ready to blast off with the queen of JCW, R to the B to the V, and Hacker Hameen. Whoa, ready to break it down on all you infidels. The youngest man alive, Hacker Hameen joins the fray. YOLO.
Catching heat with the crowd, just another vicious heel down the cheat, and he's proud. Hear the screams when allowed. They're reading out his palms, fucking book of songs. When the dirty Saudis dropping bombs, ain't police with batons, but he's pro martial law. You speak infidel, catch a partial to your jaw.
Yes, y'all. What's good? Shout out to my man Rated RCNY. Awesome MC, man, and shout out to all the HMG heads out there. Hopefully you had a good football weekend. I know I just got killed on parlays by missing one leg on something here or there, but kind of all my losses led to people that I like, their teams winning. So that's all good with me. So I'm sure we'll get into some of that end of the season, postseason football talk today. And I was just at Ravens join all weekend long, and I also got to go to my first NHL game this weekend. So it was a busy Friday to Sunday, man. I'm definitely feeling my age right now, but a good thing I got this guy to keep me young. He's got the spirit of the Ultimate Warrior pumping through him today, and we're excited because we're going to have a special guest hopefully here soon, Jasmin St. Clair, the queen of JCW, joining us, but the queen of HMG, RBV's in the house.
Yeah, you absolutely know it. Hey, we're always carnying around, but hey, today this is a big show. The circus comes to town, the queen of Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Excited to have that conversation. Jasmin St. Clair going to be joining us here probably around the top of the hour, hopefully before then, so we get that conversation going. But Ben, yeah, hey, the Booker of the Year does it again. Roger Goodell. Hey, what the thrills, the chills, the ups and the downs of the NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. Hey, up in your neck of the woods, I know you got a lot of big friends. Superman does it again. Josh Allen puts that cape on. I mean, he was out there just trucking dudes and going in it. He had a bum knee, a back that's hurting him. He goes into the concussion protocol tent. Then he comes out and damn near nearly breaks his hand, hitting his own offensive lineman's helmet, his throwing hand, and he still pulls off the win. That was a great game. The other ones you had in the 5 games, Saturday, Sunday, we still got 1 to go. You had 9 fourth quarter comebacks. Every game but one, the team that won was trailing at the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's crazy once you really
how do you write that, buddy?
Once you unleash the wild stallions that you pay for, the thoroughbred racehorses, and you let them play under pressure, this is what they've trained for their whole lives. And even those who don't win still put up a valiant effort. It always ends in kind of a babyface finish, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like both teams are so good, they're respecting each other and they're going hard as they can. And sometimes just luck of the draw and a tip pass that leads into an interception, cuts off that 1-minute hope spot, and that's all she wrote, and then the Bears game with the mega comeback in the fourth, there's so many what could possibly happen. Even at the NHL game I was at, dude, the Sabres scored in the first minute. They went up 1-0. By the third, they were up 3-0. Then they scored 1. And then we scored another one, 4-1. But in the last 2 minutes, they scored 3. And it was tight. They pulled the goalie. There was a fight. It was going down. So in the last minute of any sport, when you're a true pro athlete or a team of them, we play our back and forth and volley game. But when it's really time to turn up the juice, all these guys are going for it. So man, it was an awesome weekend.
I just about that script though. That's what you want, right? You don't want people tuning out. You want that premium, that top dollar, Even if you're there live, you want to keep those people there for your concessions and, send people out. Hey, the financial impact, and you regularly hear this, oh, let the teams go. They're worth, they're worthless to us. They cost too much money. When you look at it, there's all these studies out there, financial impacts for good teams and even bad teams, but better they are, the better for the area. But the trickle down effect for bars, restaurants, for apparel in the areas, for lodging, all of that. I mean, there's huge numbers with good sports. So
yeah,
you said the NHL. It was your first game?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's weird, man. Like, obviously, I went to school out near Buffalo, went to college. Your mom goes to college out there. And those guys that were my buddies out there were way into it, like as much as into football. And I blame Rochester for everything. There's this weird nerd cutoff at Rochester.
Is hockey like big? Like, do you guys have like high school hockey there?
No, like that. Like, that's the thing. In upstate New York, Syracuse area now, in Utica, Syracuse, there's Utica Comics, Syracuse Crunch. It's big deal, like sellouts and shit. Like, people are way into it. But when I was growing up, nobody was into that shit. We didn't know anything really about. I mean, you knew the Rangers and stuff were, like that you knew of it, but like until it was Gretzky and kind of blew up because of the jerseys and fucking hip hop guys wearing Gretzky jerseys or whatever, like that's when it started to really take off. But we didn't have it like we had Pop Warner football and Little League baseball. And in the winter, we're a snowmobile and ski kind of culture. And it's weird out there. It seemed like we would be.
You guys were ahead of the curve too on lacrosse, right? I mean, that
it's
a little bit more than it did nationally up there.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing in between Albany to the other side to Rochester. The Syracuse area got cut off from a lot of Canada culture that in Buffalo is very ingrained in them, so now hockey's all over, like I say, but when I was growing up, it just wasn't a part of who we were. So I never really had a big thing, but I remember being in college and watching games, my buddies, Sabres games, they tear their gloves off, guys are punching each other in the face. I'm like, they let them fucking fight like this, bro? I'm like, why does baseball not do this? Like, let them fucking fight.
That's what helped them. I don't know if you remember in the 90s, because you said maybe it wasn't hitting, but, right there in that back end of that Gretzky. But there was a period in the 90s when the major sports were all positioning for that top spot. After baseball went on strike and they lost the king of the mountain there, hockey was hot through the 90s. It had a real major backing. It was picking up steam. But then, much like right now at the WNBA, they thought they were too big for their britches and had a player strike, and it killed all their momentum.
Yeah,
in the 90s, they had like the best gear for starter. They had the hottest video game series in the Electronic Arts NHL series. Even street hockey was catching on so other people could play it. They had big stars. I mean, they had a lot of momentum, and then boom, they had their strike, and it all fell apart.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of big money, you know what I mean, when it comes to all that, and you're dealing with players' unions and all that shit. But it was a good time, and it was my referee Sideburns that got tickets for three of us, our buddies, to go. And one of our buddies, unfortunately, fell. He got the fucking flu that's going around, so he didn't want to get us sick, so he had to bow out. But it was a sellout crowd, 19,070, I think it said there. So, but there isn't really a bad seat in that Key Bank, I call it HSBC Arena. I've seen the Tragically Hip there. I've seen Bare Naked Ladies there. I've seen Monday Night Raw there. That's where Bischoff got choke slammed by Kane through the table. We were like 20 feet away. So I've seen some epic shows there, and this was very cool to see it for what it really is.
How was the spectacle of it? Like the showmanship?
They do a great job there, dude. They have there's this, like, I don't want to rip on the guy because it's a good gig for him, but like in Buffalo, there's always the fucking party guy, douchebag DJ. And they had that guy like running the show. Like, dude, he could have been from any generation, 90s, 2000s till now. And they also had the old school organ player, and they would make fun stuff in between any break in the show, showing crowd stuff and, chug a lug meter or make some noise or to get hype for the Bills so they can just go to that. And they got the mascot running around and gun and t-shirts out. They kept it flowing. And then in between periods, you have 18 minutes. So for my old ass who just had to be in the car for 2.5 hours after working all day and then, sitting in the stadium seats, it was nice to get up, stretch for a minute, and then, come back and watch more. So it was just tough because the next day I worked open to close yesterday after getting home 1:30 in the morning, right back on the road for an hour's commute, right back to the joint. You know what I mean? But it's selling weed, and I'm very thankful. And I'm still, living for just where it went hard Friday to Sunday this week. So, but it was a great time, man. So it was fun. And I think that's one of the more affordable professional sports to be able to take your family to right now,
Yeah, I remember going back today. It's been a while since I've been to one. We got minor league hockey, pretty good minor league hockey here in Cincinnati area. It's always fan friendly. They've always got some cool things going on, and it is more of a live sport experience. That was another thing that hurt the NHL. It's not very television friendly because everything's moving so fast. It's hard to keep your eye on the puck.
Yeah, but there's something to be said for the regional because it's you pack out for Syracuse Crunch or Utica Comets. For guys like you and I, my business is switched now, but for local promotions and guys who sell marketing space and you want to get your dip and donut shop, you know what I mean, out there for the whatever $1,000 puck shot, you know what I mean? Like doing that kind of stuff, like that's a great opportunity. Syracuse basketball does that A+ too. They got so many promotions. As soon as timeout hits, they got them the next 30-second gimmick out there for whatever it is. William Attar, hurting a car, William Attar fucking sponsored thing, or whatever mattress company, they wheel the bed out, you lay in the bed, shoot a fucking three-pointer. Like they got it like that. And that's I always, you and I, as guys who are looking for creative crossovers on how to do things, how in a 30-second spot you get that over and entertain where it hits in, you just hit 20,000 people. You're in their mind. Can you come up with something cool in a special promotion? I think that's a fun thing in pro sports to be able to play with as a creative marketing person.
Well, my favorite always at the hockey games was the mascot races. Usually they had like the big giant beer cans or, the local mascots, but you get those people out there trying to run on that ice, and it is hilarious. And it's a great put-over for that product.
Yeah, that's awesome. Everyone wants to see somebody eat shit on the ice.
Yeah,
no
just
doubt.
go out there and bite it. That's what everybody is cheering for. Ben, you talked about some of the parlays you were running. Looked like a good weekend for Vegas. Even like the Bills game there, how close they were. Over under 51.5, and it hits on 51. So it was a good weekend for Vegas.
Yeah, dude. I lost $20. That's not gonna be the end of the world, and so I'm not pissed. But I did bet against the Bills because I thought the Jags were going over. I just thought they'd be that strong. But I'm glad the Bills won. Obviously, my biz partner's a mega fan, so I'm switching next Saturday so he can. I think he's going to go to the game at Denver versus Denver. So
going to be a big one.
Yeah, I'm pumped for him. So yeah, not a problem. And it was a good time. I had it on in the safe because I was working in the vault yesterday. So pulling orders and watching football, not the worst day. But I was fucking dog ass tired. Definitely feeling my age. I feel like I look pretty tired still. But yeah, got up and hit the gym this morning doing my Caesar Bononi workouts and, just trying to develop good and positive behavior patterns for 2026 before I go on a quick vacation at the end of the month and feed my face. Well, not too far from there. But yeah.
That is awesome. It is also with the playoffs. We relate that to professional wrestling. They always got those great feel-good stories that get you emotionally invested in the games. Even like tonight, could this be, they're already right now, the great history of the Steelers. Could this be Aaron Rodgers' last game? Or the Texans, the next upstart? We don't really have a good heel, a villain in this year's playoffs, with the Chiefs being out, Cowboys, those teams that everybody kind of loves to hate.
Yeah, we're not cutting away to Taylor Swift every fucking 2 seconds. Isn't that a wonderful thing? We can actually focus on the sport. And there really doesn't seem to be a huge bunch of politics because Trump doesn't seem to be in the background. I guess he's a little distracted. Yeah, there's it seems to be more about the football right now, but I don't know. I was kind of trying to keep an eagle eye on our refs pulling some bullshit, based on what the mobs tell them to do. So I didn't see anything too controversial that way. Some missed kicks.
Jordan Love, the quarterback from the Packers, has only had one intentional grounding in his entire career, and he has two within 2 minutes of that Bears comeback.
So there's one. Especially Chicago mob says we're winning, bitch.
Hey, that was Seth freaking Rollins. He had a vision. Yeah. He was up in the suites, man.
Yeah, good for him. And like a kicker missing something that is under, like, the one guy kicked 68 yards and then he missed a 45er. Like, those are the things like, okay, I know it's not easy by any means to kick a 45-yarder. I probably couldn't kick a fucking 15, but like, those are the ones where you can just blame it on the dude and like, that's football, or that guy can make that 20 out of 20 times and that one time he doesn't. Why? So that's where all sports are possibly at work at all times.
It's just the way they come in. But yeah, he's got a freaking boot.
If you guys are hanging and banging with us here early, thanks. We're 27 strong here in the Monday Locker Room, Hameen Media Group, Ben Hameen YouTube channel. Jasmin St. Clair should be joining us around 1 p.m. So excited to have her on, talk some JCW and her entire career, man. So excited.
Yeah, excited to talk JCW, get some of that insight into the circus that everybody's talking about in professional wrestling. Ben, another big thing coming up this week in professional wrestling. I want to get your kind of perspective from a creative standpoint, not necessarily with the booking, but maybe production, a chance at a new chapter with, a company that a lot of people, it's been around for a while. People are starting to talk about again, and that's Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. They debut on AMC. Arguably their biggest business dealing in a long, long time, maybe ever. Wrestling fitting in with the AMC, what we usually expect from their big hit series. Do you see wrestling as a good fit there? Would you like to see them adapt more of a style to match like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Walking Dead? What do you
see who matched that style?
TNA or wrestling. Like, could they,
I don't think it's about
the Broken Universe style or something there.
I would love to see that. They've been synonymous for thinking outside the box or stealing, like Wrestling House. I thought that was great place where people got to play out their gimmick. That was so fun to see those characters interact that way and play out each of their own games and small scenes. I'm sure Tommy Dreamer had a lot to do with that. Those were some of the best sketches. I go back almost always to, you want to talk about playing at a high level. I don't think anything really has ever been done as good as, well, I like Tony Storm, but we could do so much more, as Conan and LAX when they took it from Training Day. Those promos show that the work can handle anything, and we can play at a very high, we make movies, pal, level, not some stupid old John Wayne thing that they were doing with Heenan and, Wild West shit. But like, when you have characters and you make a movie around them, or they're the character in their own movie, they did a good job with Rosemary and all that when that shit was hot. Obviously, the Broken Universe. So when it comes to TNA as not want to say a playground or a testing ground, but somebody who says, let the artist create their art and let's hear their idea. And now how can we support them on a budget, and how do we get the most out of the least amount they're having to spend? Well, what can they do if they've got a precedent of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, those types of shows? I think that's an awesome product to have the gateway to keep raising the bar of what character work is. TNA, regardless of what era, Dixie era, you want to rib, or you know what I mean, Billy era, like when it comes to letting the performers who want to try something and can get it over, they've done more than WWE, I would say, has in the last decade to 2 decades. I even go to Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green's work as the Jilted Bride was with Congo Kong was unhinged and let her do and be everything, and just had to do a walk on a scene once that character got developed. You know, a character like Tony Storm developing there would have gotten even more support in the film noir aspect of what they try and do in the promos. You know, so I'm not saying she hasn't and that she hasn't gotten it over. I think she's the best thing in wrestling in the last 2 to 3 years, really.
So would it be wise? Do you think the wrestling itself will be enough of a draw to hold the AMC audience that's already there?
I think it's not really about that. Like, we look at things as a wrestling. Oh, wrestling's on with them. They look at it as, hey, we've already got our episodics and our classics. Where are we lax? Sports. Okay. We know we can't get WWE. Here's something we can get at a price that is kind of connected. It's a smart move to build out that sector where they may be deficient. Something with alternative other sports, soccer wise, tennis wise, those micro demographics that aren't really getting a shine. That's where I think would be a smart focus to kind of round things out that way. Auto racing. I mean, what can they do? I'm just putting some things out there because NFL's already locked in with Amazon and Netflix and Premier Cable and Fox. So it's going to be tough to try and take a bite out of that, or the NBA or Major League Baseball. So what's left over that we might be able to add to our portfolio?
Well, you know, there is those ties with WWE, TKO, also through TNA with their partnership. Like, there's rumors that AJ Styles will be there at the debut. A lot of even rumors and rumblings that Jericho might make a swing through Total Nonstop Action.
That's interesting. I don't know why. Like, maybe that's just to say I did it all, because he really wasn't.
Well,
a part of that ever.
I mean, if he could go down there and persuade them to put that belt on him, you know, like they do with that resume. I mean, he would be the guy that's held major titles in all the modern majors then.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason to do it, and I don't really like that reason. Like, that's very...
If you're the network, though, and you hear somebody like a Jericho, I mean, there's a good chance that somebody at the top has heard
sure
of
you
Jericho.
want it, but it just is like, doesn't that feel self-serving? Like, if there was a Jericho Impact era and he was going back for that, and like, if there was, he would have been champ there. Now we're just going to do it for the Mark nerds on fucking Cage Match. He held every major title and every fucking... Shut the fuck up, dude. You know, like, I don't like bowing down to that. If your career path led you there and it was that, and you were going to go do business, but what, you're just going to show up, go, I'm a legend and a Hall of Famer, and I win the title, and then I do business, and then I'm on to go do my other business. Like, that doesn't sit right with me. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they'll do it a different way where I end up going, oh, okay, I get it, and it wasn't that, or you know what I mean? But I just don't see the real reason why or the payoff. But if you're the, you know, executives and you can get him, of course you're going to want to get him, you know.
I mean, it's good for the, you know, show the network in that. Speaking of Jericho, we still got time here. Again, top of the hour, expecting Jasmin St. Clair from Juggalo Championship Wrestling to be joining us. Staying with Jericho here real quick. I mean, it's coming up at any time. It's not really the if, it's when Chris Jericho returns to the WWE. Ben, is it better suited to give us one of the throwback versions of Chris Jericho, or the Jericho that we've seen from AEW? Or even maybe a new Chris Jericho?
I get scared that they're just going to do exactly what they did with the Hardys and do some throw. You were over as the Millennium Man, so you got to wear the shirt. Dude, it's Chris motherfucking Jericho. Like, he can do what he wants. I don't need a nostalgia. The only thing, if you wanted to do nostalgia, would be to dye his ponytail pink and come out with Ralphus. That would pop me more than anything. But fucking, you know, he just needs to show up, dude. Like, they can come out with the list if you want. They might make him try and do that bit, but it shouldn't be about that. Like, it shouldn't be about let's play the hits. It should be, you know, this is him going out the way his career should be, epically. And speaking of epic careers, we are excited to have here on the Monday Locker Room the First Lady of JCW with us. Join us. Thank you, Jasmin St. Clair. Welcome to Hameen Media Group.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited. I love StreamYard, by the way, and I love everything you guys are doing.
Thank you. Excellent. We're super excited to be, Russo brand adjacent and plugged into what you guys are doing to have that crossover. And thank you so much for reaching out. That was, I woke up that day and you're like, hey, hit me up. I was like, oh shit, she's ready to do biz, bro. Let's not fuck around here. She's a woman of action, and she's actually managing my twin terror brother in JCW, Congo Kong. So you never know. You got room for another guy under your Heenan family roster, the St. Clair family.
Oh, the St. Clair Monster Corporation. Hey, at some point or another, you don't know if we'll expand to 4 monsters, or maybe one day if one monster can't be there, then you're in.
Yeah, excellent. No, I love that you're working with Kong, one of my favorite tag team partners ever. Not when he turns on you, though, and gives you the belly-to-belly suplex or the off-the-top rope cannonball. That was a tough day for me at the office, so you're in good hands.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that, but it's really weird working with him because the year before that, I was working for Briar and Rachel at Horror Slam.
Okay.
And I was supposed to manage Kong on that show. I didn't manage him. I did something completely different. Then fast forward to a few months later, oh, look who you're managing at JCW. And I heard he had other managers before. I just don't know who they were.
In Canada, we had a guy who's real old school, Alexander the Great. He dresses in all pink. He's like 1970s like era dude, and he's worked with everybody. He is a legendary dude. So it was kind of funny to have him with us. But we also had a guy that really helped us get into Canada, infamous Jay Moore, who's like this little weaselly dude. He's awesome, man, and he's just hide behind us and be laughing at guys and getting them all riled up. So it was great working with him in Canada and have him as a tag partner to take half the bumps, and the big Arab terrorist and the big monster from the Congo. It was a good time, man, for sure. So I love that you're getting to work with him, because I know how awesome it is to work with him. So and everything seems to be going great over there. I know the YouTube numbers are up, especially since Vince Russo and Vito have joined the fray over there. And, it's got to be a crazy part of chapter of your epic career, 30 years in the entertainment business in so many different aspects. I'm not trying to insult a lady by putting that out there, but 3 decades, right? You've been performing professionally.
Wow, that's so weird. Like you don't really think about these things until someone else brings it up. And it's a complete blessing. I do think that JCW has been the best part of my wrestling career. Cool. Vince definitely has added to this, and it's really an honor and a privilege to work with him. I always wanted to work with him, but obviously with WCW being on Turner Network and this lily white bullshit. Am I allowed to say the word?
You can say anything you want.
Like their little bullshit with, oh, we're lily white, yah ha ha. Okay, whatever. In the meantime, like Eric Bischoff's best friend, Jason Hervey, married a porn star. Yeah. I mean, it was the weirdest thing. And there they were having like coffee, breaking bread together and all this other stuff, but whatever. I don't think creatively it would have been as much fun there as it is at JCW. And I had no idea. That's why you guys have these tag teams for everyone to split up the pain.
Exactly. Because we're both big dogs too. To be in there for 20 minutes, we get blown up. I need to breathe, brother. Let me get out for a minute.
It's a lot. And those guys really put a lot on themselves. Beastman, especially, like he's new. Some of the things I see them do, it's like, ouch. But look, at least I'm not meddling around in blood and glass. So that's the upside.
There's no reason to. It's Beauty and the Beast. We were actually talking about TNA right before you came on. Okay. And when his stuff with Chelsea Green, when she was the Broken Bride, I think was some of my most favorite character stuff I've seen. I really enjoyed Tony Storm's work and plenty of others, but that it was phenomenal. Some of the takes between them while she's, wasted on champagne and he's being Kong. and we have that, the blonde and the giant Savage. It was awesome. So I'm sure you'll have plenty of fun moments like that with him as well. So
yeah, I like Tony She's definitely one of my favorites, by the way. I love her character-wise, and she sticks out because so many, and not to be a jerk off, but so many of these girls these days, in a lot of these leagues, they have the same gear. They all look the same. And Tony stands out. I love her gimmick. I feel so ridiculous. I did not get a photo with her last year at Wrestling Convention. So hopefully I can get a photo with her this year.
I think so. That'd be great to see you maybe get into the Tony Storm universe. That's what I'm all about. Is I come from mainly comedy and improv beforehand, and I was really excited to see you had studied at Second City. So I'd love to hear some of your takes on that in the crossover of how that helps you in performance, because that's what I wanted to bring to wrestling, more than anything. So Tony embodies kind of that the work can handle anything. And once you create a world and a character, we were talking about the Hardy universe, we were talking about other ones earlier, what you can draw people into your universe, and what do they become? What is Jasmin St. Clair through the lens of the Tony Storm universe, especially with as many sexual innuendos and funny jokes. And I mean, there's always a place just to do a walk-on cameo and you're in there, right? You're in that lexicon.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I would love. Are you guys frozen? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we froze for a second, but we got you.
Because you're ice cold. Wait, are you in Denver as well? Where are you located?
I'm in New York in upstate where the most snow is. If you can find the most snow, it's right where I am.
But I love Tony. I love what Tony Storm is doing. I love what they're doing with her as well right now. I mean, I would love to be a part of that universe. But the whole getting back to Second City, let's all agree on one thing. Improv is a cult. Del Close, who was the godfather of improv, was in contact with a cult in the 60s. I think it was with Synanon. Yeah. And if you think about it, where you have these like-minded, you have games, you have to be like-minded.
Well, hive mind, right? We have to tap into the group consciousness through pattern recognition, saying yes and not negating. So you really can't say no to anybody. That's very cult-like, right? But it does further this. It does further the scene, because if we put conflict into something, which in wrestling we're there for conflict, but we're really just trying to get to resolution. Is that friendship? Is that a handshake? Is that me killing you because you killed my brother? You know what I mean? Like whatever that gets to. But yeah, Del Close was a pagan witch, but he was also a heroin addict and fucking, a carny. So as long as you don't really go in of like, he's the man, there is a lot there of like, I don't know, the psychedelic world that broke down the fears of us as performers, I think, and once you live a yes and lifestyle, it's almost like the Jedi mind shit. I'm sure you use it on people because we're trained to say no, but, and why. But when we just say yes and agree, we've already given the power to that person, and now we're in control, but I'm adding my spin on where I want it to go next.
That's what I do with Vince. Like, I just got the material. I yes and him because he knows what he's doing, and it's a proven formula. It's so crazy. As soon as he started working there, some other person I worked with WF in a direct but non-direct way was messaging me, "Oh, I can do better. Oh, you guys got Vince. How's that going? How's that working out for you?" I'm like, well, it's working out a lot better than bitching from a couch where you are, or a senior citizen home, wherever it might be. But getting back to the whole improv, that was a total accident. I went to UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade, and I graduated there. I met a guy named Ryan Nemeth. He was in Improv 3 with me. And I didn't know he knew who I was because I was taking classes under my real name, which is just stupid. Then he approached me, "Hey, do you want to host my improv one night at Second City?" Okay, yeah, sure. So I hosted his Flying Chuck's improv that he had with John Morrison. It was him and a couple of other improvisers. So then I got into Second City. I decided, okay, it's actually pretty cool here. I went through the whole first part of the program. I didn't know you had to audition to get into
ETC,
the conservatory.
Yeah.
So I auditioned. I didn't think anything about it. Then I get an email back. I was accepted into the program. Okay, great. Now there's grad review. Okay, I'm not going to get into grad review. There's no fucking grad. I got an email that I got into grad review. So I went through the whole program, and that was a lot of fun. You get to write with people. You do skits. I met one of my best friends through there. We had this whole YouTube series we produced together called Future Rich Wives Club. It was so much fun. But we used people from class, except for one person we didn't really care for, because she was like the worst improviser ever. Like, you never ask a question at the beginning of a scene. You don't turn it into a transactional thing. Yeah. And at a grad review show, this bitch it's exactly what she did. She did the transaction thing. I turned the whole thing around, but we could not stand her. I don't know how that girl even gotten into grad review. Ugh. But yeah. Anyway, I think she sells insurance for a living now. But
it's funny in those last shows, like how people pimp themselves out after so much group mind, but when it's time to like, I gotta get mine, but everybody watching is a top level improviser. It's like they know exactly what's going on if you start doing transaction. I got to take a minute and tell you how pumped I am for you to be talking high level improv in the locker room. And who would have thought after 10 years of doing this that one of my main connections would be with you just talking shop today. I'm very happy about it. It's made me very happy. Thank you.
Second City people are different. Improv, so I did Groundlings as well. Okay, I have to tell you, they've got.
So I'm an Improv Olympic Chicago guy, and followed by Second City. Yeah,
I did take some classes there. I did a long form improv class there for a summer. I did my one woman show there at the Annoyance Theater.
Yeah,
but going to Groundlings, it wasn't the same. It's not the same kind of people taking classes there. I'm not saying they're bad people. They're nice people and everything, but it's not the same mindset, and it's not character work material at Groundlings. And the teachers there were not that great. Emily was a great teacher. I had this other really cool teacher named Sean, but there was some guy named Diego. Dude, you were just in a class with me. Now you're teaching? No.
Right. Yeah, they do that. They do that a lot of, but that's people caught in the cult and in the program who just want to make money off acting, who don't have the vision. And Rick, I'm sorry, the golden voice of Rick Victory. I'm just in the spot here with you. This is a lot of where I look back at the wokeness of Chicago and how they've hurt their own theaters, where they tried to, put minorities ahead of performance, but now you look at the team when the dust settled, and it's the same Wisconsin college nerds, the same. You got the one big black dude, you're going to have the nerdy Asian girl, and then 4 white people. It's just going to be that way because that's how improv is, right? And it's not about what you are, what group you're in. It's that you're in that cult together, and that's all you got trying to make it, but they don't see how to apply it later to make money off it. And you have such a jump on them, obviously adult industry you've been through, legit film industry credits as well, wrestling industry credits, every carny aspect of this business. I can only imagine now, forget the improv wise of like what you came through in the adult film industry in the 90s versus the money that's being made on OnlyFans or a Bonnie Blues recognition of like how different the model in business alone. Rick and I love talking business. Just that has to be like, God damn it, I left $50 million on the table in 1995. How, because the technology and the ability to connect with an audience at one-on-one wasn't there, right? The distribution was different.
Yeah, but I'll say this. I don't really believe a lot of these girls are making what they say. And if they are they paying their taxes? No. Number 2, nobody is going to remember them in 10, 20 years from now because they lack one thing, personal connection. Actually, a few things, personal connection and talent outside of there. So in the 90s, we were groomed a little bit differently. Then you have some girls that do these little comebacks or whatever, and that's wonderful. All the power to them. I have some friends that I still stay in contact with that are doing that. And I'm happy for them if that's what they want.
Sure.
And the interesting part of this is that I've looked at the downloads on my podcast from when I've had OnlyFans girls on that have 1 million or whatever followers versus, let's just say, a great name of the 90s, Nikki Dial, Dominique Simone, beautiful girls like that who are articulate and people actually remember, but they have substance and stories. Now, those downloads were way more than, let's just say, certain girls that have 1 million followers on OnlyFans that are big names there.
Mhm.
So I believe that's what the difference is versus, I mean, this is just my idea of it. It's because it's someone who's far more interesting. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, if every cul-de-sac wine mom's got her thong out, like now the market's flooded anyway, right? You know, so it doesn't make much difference. So there will be a bubble, a rise and fall with that. But I just think about like, you want to talk about really porn is what advances technology more than anything. It's always the first to have the most, whether it's VR or any, because we're sexual creatures, obviously, and then we're tech addicted. So you get chocolate in your peanut butter and off we are to the races. So, you know, like that is such like, oh my God, the money that we could have been making if the connection was there, but they just didn't see that model at that time. And obviously analytics is a huge part of what plays into getting paid in that deal too. Rick, I'm going to throw it over to you, man. I'm going to shut the fuck up. Jasmin, you've made my day already. I'm here to tell you.
Like that. I'll just bring this up really quick. When you're talking about technology, with Hustler Magazine, I was their first webcam girl. Ask me how long that lasted when I was there, just for that one day. Ask how long that lasted, and you'll be surprised.
What was the over under?
I was there for literally under 5 minutes because I got pissed off at people. Because I don't want to be connected to people like that, you know, telling me this and that. I told some guy to go fuck himself. Then whoever the webmaster was, he shut the whole thing down, and I wanted to go eat. Like, I had more important things to do.
Yeah, but now you can be in control of all of it if you have all the production and everything, you know, but you better pay your goddamn taxes. That's for sure.
No, I think it's great. You guys immediately got that great connection. Jasmin, it is such an honor to meet you. Thanks for coming on with us. To kind of piggyback, you guys talking about the business side of things here. Jasmin, you've had so much experience across a broad range of genres and all that. You've done a tremendous job building your own brand. How involved are you with Juggalo Championship Wrestling and their kind of outburst right now, their outbreak with their media marketing and helping them develop and spread the good word about their brand?
I just literally retweet everything. I share the links whenever I can and wherever I can, because that's super important. People have to see these things as more than just an opportunity to perform for the audience. It's also social media collaboration. And I feel as though that's where a lot of talent lacks, not there specifically, but just other places. But with JCW, I just push this stuff out there as far as I can and as much as I can. And every Thursday when we have a new episode that drops, I try to get into the chat to just be there live and say hi, because I feel that's also a very important part of it nowadays.
Working the digital merch table.
Exactly. Then having that pro wrestling tees like shop up there so people buy the t-shirts, because at the shows I don't necessarily have an ability to sell stuff because of the tables, and it's been freezing cold these past few venues. It's so cold. That's why I wear a jacket to the ring now, because it's just freezing cold.
And you guys have been on tour all over too, from Midwest, Southwest, and West Side, and hopefully we get some New York and East Coast stuff so we can help promote that here and get Hami Media Group loyalists out to support. Absolutely. So go ahead, Rick.
I know over in the chat right now, you know, they are talking about Jasmin, yourself, and other JCW stars, how they interact with the fans. Jasmin, you know, you've worked for a number of promotions, been in the business a long time, unique and extremely passionate fans. How would you describe performing for and interacting with the Juggalo Championship Wrestling fan base?
Well, I remember my second night in, it was like March of last year. Or March? Yeah, we were in it was Reno, Nevada, and then that was, Reno, or was it Vegas? Vegas. And then the next night, I believe, was Arizona. Some girl grabbed me, like, not to be abusive, but she grabbed me, and then she's trying to take photos. That was like my second night working there. Like, these people are crazy, is what Ricky Morton said to me. Someone threw bottle of Faygo at me, but it was empty. So I guess I was doing my job, but it's been fun performing for them. It's a different type of wrestling fan. I believe, yes, we get a lot of juggalos that come to the shows, but we also get just the average wrestling fan because they want to see something new. And what Vince Russo is doing is bringing back wherever the Attitude Era might have left off, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
And that's really what it is. Oh, and whoop whoop to everyone out there. Now I see the comments. I should know how to look at the comments because I run my live stream off of StreamYard. But one thing I do enjoy is Faygo. And my favorite flavor is Red Pop. I love Faygo dogs. So there's a guy that comes to all of the shows named Batman who makes like grape flavored Faygo hot dogs. That's the best one. You just put some mayonnaise on it and you're good to go.
Is there a deal? Is there a deal
in mayo?
Is there a deal in place with Faygo or no? Is there like a legit sponsorship?
Store. Oh, for us, for Faygo? No,
Yeah.
I mean we should have it, but
Yeah, why there should be a whole Violent J line. Like he should have, his own label on there at this point. Because
they do. He does the tastings, and they do have the mini gatherings. I actually
It's
saw
not like
you
they're
share
not
that
aware.
advertisement, Jasmine,
It's
where
not
they
like-
have like the Faygo dogs and some other things going on. And
I'm like, what is this? So they should have something. And then even like Doll's Kill made a little Faygo looking soda can for a wristlet. I ordered one the other day. Hey Kenny Effin Powers, how are you? So it's weird, and they don't have that endorsement, which they should have, because there are tons. I did Faygo Armageddon once, never again, maybe again, but it's all with sugar-free Faygo or diet Faygo, so it doesn't get the hair all sticky. But the next day, my clothes were still drenched from the night before. My sneakers were drenched. I had to get on a plane with wet clothes in my bag. I had like one pair of dry pants and someone gave me a t-shirt and I was wearing flip-flops, which I never travel with flip-flops on a plane. I don't do that. So my bag was now heavier from the clothes. As soon as I got home, it was just a matter of rinsing out all that stuff, like cleaning it.
You had a bunch of bees chasing you as you went into the airport. Everything was
It wasn't even, that was the next thing. Let me get my hair cleaned. Then I threw the sneakers in the washing machine. They look great, by the way. But maybe I'll do Faygo Armageddon again. I love the Faygo, the cotton candy flavored Faygo cocktail they had at Hollow Wicked. But working for JCW has been great. And I remember Riddlebox, I remember Great Malenko, all of those albums, and listening to them back in that era. So now working for them is a different experience, which is great because Jay is the coolest boss, and working there gives off the ECW vibes, but at a different level. Definitely not XPW vibes because that shit is just flat out toxic. But hey, at least on my thumbs.
Yeah, I was not a fan when I went to check them out that much. And, I'm 2CW here in the Northeast, which is kind of the rebirth of ECW in its most real and raw form. So even though we just had a reunion show, it was the real magic, once again. So it was a good night there to rekindle that a little bit, that 90s nostalgia that's back so much now. But let's shoot bang bang because obviously biz partners with Russo, and we're happy for this guy. I came up with him at OVW, and he was your champion. And the next week he's back, not as Zack Ryder, but as Matt Cardona, in WWE. And I think Cardona's smart enough from the last time he was there to get the ball rolling. Obviously Chelsea's there. It's not like they're just doing it to sting JCW, but at the same time, that's the icing on the cake for them is to sting JCW and F you to Russo, right? So, that's just the carny way this game is played. But you got any? I just like to hear your feelings on obviously the WWE still having to get their shit in on anybody who tries to get their own come up.
Sure.
you look like you're ready to unload. It was like
he's like, shut the fuck up, let me go.
So let's think for a second. Let's first ask everyone, what would Triple H be doing if he wasn't doing Stephanie McMahon, guys? I mean, come on. He married the boss's daughter, okay? So that's just my question. I've always wanted an answer for it. I personally feel he'd be a road agent, or maybe not where he is. Maybe he'd be at TNA or something. But he's been given an opportunity to do something wonderful with WWE, which was originally a working man's thing to do. You know, it was a working man's weekend off to go watch wrestling. Tickets were cheaper. Now it's close to $1,000 for a ring, for some seat up in the nosebleed section. I mean, come on, guys. And then you expect people to pay that, but as long as people pay it, they will continue raising the prices on it. So I feel as though they're losing their audience. Fine. So Matt Cardona comes over to JCW, and I think he's a great worker, by the way. He's very nice. I'm happy for him. You know, he was handed this thing for SmackDown, like a big contract or whatever. He had to alienate his streams or whatever he does on Twitch. But they did it in a very calculating way, because Vince Russo brought up a very valid point. Triple H isn't creative. He can't create storylines. They can't really create a buzz. I feel as though there's so many throwaway matches there.
Sure.
So what better way to stick it to Vince Russo by signing Matt Cardona as soon as he was champ? Of course it was calculated. It was all planned out. And I'm not being like some crazy conspiracy theorist. I could do that too. But I think they planned it out. And he did it specifically to fuck with Vince. They weren't going to do – Matt Cardona just showed up doing random matches.
So if I was in the locker room at JCW, I would be politicking to become champ so fast, so you can get the fastest way to get to WWE is to become JCW champ right now. Like possibly everybody's going to be cutting throats just to get that, right? But yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could politic. You could sleep with the camera guy. Well, no, that's a guy. No, I don't know.
Hey man, anything goes over there at JCW. We don't pass any judgments.
Jasmin, what was the initial reaction amongst the locker room when you see Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona show up on SmackDown, and then they announce that he has signed that contract?
You know, it didn't surprise anyone. He's an opportunist like anyone else. We all are, really. Let's not kid ourselves. Anyone there who has belts, if they were given an opportunity with WWE or let's say TNA Wrestling, AEW, they would take it. It doesn't necessarily mean now that they're going to use you the right way to put you on a good platform.
You'll be paid for your misery. They don't know how to get anybody over.
Exactly. And that's what it was for. You know, I see, and thank you, Maddie K just said JCW is still 1,000 times more entertaining than WWE. 100%, because you have Vince Russo writing what could have been and what would have been the Attitude Era continued into the here we are in the late 2000s, decades later. So this is what people need. I personally feel that Matt Cardona, when people found out, like a lot of people felt like, yeah, of course he would do that. Oh, Triple H was doing that on purpose. But he wasn't there long enough at the company to really feel the loss of him, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Like it wasn't that camaraderie like you have, let's say, with like the Brothers of Instruction or like Barnabas or Willie
it just comes off as a rub for the company as like a WWE guy was here for a minute. It doesn't hurt, but it's not as good as long-term business would be.
I mean, I wish he was there at the company longer because I thought that he was a great wrestler and he brought a lot to the table. Same thing with Dolph Ziggler. What's that? Nick's brother, Ryan's brother.
Ryan's brother. It's funny you said that because I put Ryan over as the only other guy really in wrestling, and now you obviously are added into this equation that understands improv like I do at a very high level that came from that to wrestling. Plus, obviously, he's Zigzag's brother, so he's got another in when it comes.
Oh yeah. Well, so. The other thing was like. With Ryan, it was fascinating because I had no idea who he was when he was at UCB with me. We were just in scenes together. But
we probably just wrote the book, right? The dating book that he had like before he was even in wrestling. I
don't even know what he was doing. I just knew he was a kid in my class who looked like a wrestler, and that's all. Like I was just there to do scene work, and UCB was not as much fun as Second City. And at Second City, I also joined my first improv troupe. So It was. And by the way, to go back to this whole thing about racism and improv or whatever, there was a Jamaican guy in our troupe. He didn't give a shit that I did in a Jamaican accent in some of the scenes. But anyway.
Well, I mean, they didn't give a shit when Kofi Kingston did it either, right? Like, or Apollo Crews has to do Nigerian, or I have to. Yes, that's right, Jasmine St. Clair, you will be my 301st wife. You know, like that.
You're my 301st wife now. But if you're Jamaican like that, you know, it's Canada getting bad like that, Jamaican.
Well, I was gonna challenge you to this because I'd love to see it in Congo. I asked Congo Kong this when you said the racism shit in improv. One of my constant ribs is to go when he's putting his face paint on. I go, is it racist if a black guy wears black face paint? Is there something wrong? Because he'll get halfway through it and he's all black face on and he's a black guy. So feel free to steal that and rib him with it. But I would love to see you in Congo Kong face paint and an alternative version, clown version of Jasmine St. Clair, completely different from what the JCW universe is used to. Because if you're an improviser, you have 1,000 characters inside of you, and you can develop them completely different from anybody else. Third thing is, you touched on conspiracy. Conspiracy is everything in my life, pretty much, of what my characters are built around and what I've done. And I believe that Jasmine St. Clair is a Mandela effect. I could swear your name, unless you rebranded, was Jasmine. And Rick and I had it out earlier because I thought he misspelled on the promo graphic. He's like, no, I looked it up. It's without. And as coming from the 90s, I'm just going to put this out. Jasmine St. Clair, are you a Mandela effect?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. What, because I'm friends with Chrissy Mayer? Is that why you're saying that?
No, because there's no E on the end of your name on Jasmine.
No, there never was an E.
There was an E at the end of your name, Jasmine St. Clair.
Oh, at the end of Claire there is, but not
at the end of Jasmine, there was an E.
Because somebody misspelled it. If you're looking up an old porn film, those people are not that bright who do the credits.
Or are you a Mandela effect, Jasmine St. Clair? And you don't even know that you are a Mandela effect. Chat, is Jasmine St. Clair a Mandela effect? Is the way she spells her name.
We did. We went round and round on this E thing, and I was like, I looked it up like 10 times. I've not seen an E anywhere.
There's no E. You're just imagining things, you know? And yes, I looked at the Juggalo face paint one day. I just don't know how to do it. I've never done the face paint before. I'm not that great at painting things. I'm great at bedazzling things like hats and all this stuff, but I could do watercolor paints with like those pencils.
Okay, nice. Yeah, well, I mean, there's plenty of people there, I'm sure, who have, extreme experience of who does the best Juggalo painting, I think it wouldn't be too hard to find. What's interesting about this is now we may have a little more proof that those who are Mandela effects don't even realize that they are Mandela effects, you guys. We've seen her reaction. Maybe she doesn't even know that her name used to be spelled with an E. And once it changed, in her mind, it's always been without an E. And now the people who invented Skechers or, the Ford symbol or whatever has changed might truly believe it was always that way, even though the rest of us know her name used to be spelled Jasmine.
No, it's always been without. Maybe other people spell it with
I rest my case, you guys. I rest my case. She doesn't even know that her name used to be.
Jasmine, he warned you he was a conspiracy guy.
Dude, what are you, like, friends with the My Pillow guy or something? Can you believe I asked him out? I did ask him out I wanted to speak to him about his book once, and he fucking turned me down.
I think anybody who doesn't listen to you after, the amount of different industries you've been a success in the entertainment business should be coming up to you like any rookie to a veteran and going, how can I make the most of my opportunity? How can I capitalize? How can I make money in this shit? How can I get my numbers up? Because you know all about that because of 30 years of carny ass entertainment experience.
And branding is such a tough thing, and rebranding yourself, you don't really have to listen to what people say. I don't really give a fuck what people say. And I think the worst part was like, okay, so here's an unknown fact. I was doing married life for like a year. Okay, so I got married for a year, and that's when my branding came down because you had this stupid like yeah from like Snohomish, Washington, who thought he was a great heavy metal guitarist, who couldn't deal with the whole thing. I'm like, dude, you know what? Then just get out. And I kicked his ass out on Thanksgiving of that year. Was that like the wrong time of the year to kick someone out at the house?
No, I think because you get out without Christmas gift spending,
Yeah.
so that's very smart. Actually, I think that's you get out of Valentine's
Get a
Day and Christmas and
Valentine's
New
Day.
Year's. You can go out and party and do what you want to do and rebound.
Exactly, right? Oh, I was already rebounding long.
Hold on,
before
was it before or after Thanksgiving dinner? Hopefully, you at least fed them before you
that.
took
No,
them
it
to the
was,
curb.
it was before, so it was a cheaper Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I snatched his guitar that I probably paid for. It wasn't like as cool as the movie Airheads, but it was like on that level almost.
Gotcha. Best Thanksgiving ever is what I think some people refer to that as. You know, like it's going to be a memorable one for a long time. It's going to be tough to top that one.
Well, the last time I checked on this guy, because his current or ex-wife now reached out to me for some bullshit or whatever that I don't really care. I think he was living in his parents' basement. So she wanted the address. I guess he didn't do child support or whatever those people do. I don't believe in that. I believe in palimony because, like, I'm unmarried. I don't have kids. So if I'm with someone for a long time and they take my time up, I'm going to demand some kind of payment for my time afterwards. And I don't care what anyone says. That might sound like a whorish thing to do, but the truth is, even if you're married, that's the same thing. You're still paying for it somehow, right?
Yeah, does Ric Flair have 6 alimonies right now? Does anybody?
What?
I think so.
Yes. And his cameo was priceless.
Yeah.
I think that was nice, though. That was totally fine of him to say that. He's giving sound advice. Maybe, I mean, the $500 cameo was cheaper than a divorce lawyer, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure that was just him projecting after getting taken to the cleaners X amount of times, you know, like get in line to fleece them again. So as we start to wrap up here, I mean, JCW YouTube numbers are up every week. More and more people watching it as episodic TV should be in wrestling. The Vince Russo effect, Vito, Jasmin St. Clair, Cocaine, the Zombies, everybody just, you know, really shining when they get the opportunity to right now in every segment. And the fan base growing and building off of a legacy of Juggalos and ICP that's been around as well in this business for 30 years. So another 20 to 30 year overnight success, as we say, right? Where everybody's watching now.
Yeah, and Vito's been a complete delight to work with. I speak to him almost every week. He's like my new friend, and I love the Outbreak. I hope we have a Monsters Outbreak feud. I think that would be off the charts. And I love Barnabas's energy. He's another person that knows about cults and Satanism, not as much as I do, obviously, but he knows enough about cult leaders. He could actually be a cult leader if he wanted to be a cult leader.
I actually, Barnabas and I go way back. He's one of the first people that I befriended in this business. So we're pretty close. We've run the same circles, a bunch of shows like that. He is so dedicated to the craft. Absolutely incredible. But Jasmin, I did have one thing I particularly wanted to ask you before we get out of here. And I want to throw out some names here. Like a Missy Hyatt, a Terry Reynolds, a Vicky Guerrero, anyone that should be on everyone's Mount Rushmore of great managers. Sherry Martel. What does it mean for you to carry on that lineage and bringing back powerful female managers?
It's actually flattering, but I don't see myself as any of that. Missy is actually my oldest friend in the business. She's the first real manager I met. My first mixed tag match was with Sherry Martel and one of the Doink the Clowns. Wow. I was trained to wrestle originally from Mondo Guerrero, but because of my size, I was used as a manager, and I'm fine with that. But to be up there, or even in the caliber of the Missies and the Sherrys, it's a big deal because they really, they meant a lot in molding me, like, into what I've been doing. I don't know what I do when I go out there. I just do it. It's like an improv scene. And I think I must have learned a lot from Missy and Sunny Sunny was a lot of fun to work with at XPW, but I left the company right after that. But I just remember meeting Missy when she was a brunette, and she came to the first XPW show, and I was just fascinated by her. She was beautiful. And she's taught me a lot of stuff. Sherry, I learned a lot from. Dawn Marie. So people like Sherry, and people don't bring this one person up, and I believe she deserves all the credit in the world, is Nancy Sullivan. And she's another good one.
Absolutely, you're right in that category and representing all those women as this generation, multi-generation. They absolutely should be. I'm sure they're all proud of you. It's everything you've been through dealing with these dumbass men and workers for 20, 30 years.
These guys, swear to God. But no, I like Vince a lot. And of course, if I had to choose between Vince or Vito, I'd say Vince because he's got more money. But
yeah,
Vito
and
has
a nice
temper.
Vito spends all his on manicuring and grooming. He really enjoys his spa days. He would have as much money as Vince too.
Yeah.
Where can we send them, Jasmine, to follow you, to follow Juggalos, or wherever you want them to tune in for anything special coming up?
Yes. Oh, and real quick, Kenny, yes, I know April very well. She worked for me when I had a wrestling company. So every Monday night, if you go to my YouTube, Crazy Train Podcast, that is crazy with a K, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, I have a special guest on every Monday, except Mondays when we're traveling. So like tonight, we have Beastman coming on the show. Subscribe to my YouTube page, Crazy Train Podcast, crazy with a K. And the podcast drops every Wednesday. Gail Kim is my guest this Wednesday. But don't forget to tune in tonight at Monday. Then, Instagram, The Real Jasmin St. Clair, Jasmine without an E.
No E.
No E at Jasmine. Twitter, it's Jasmin St. Clair. No E at the end of Jasmine. And let's see. I guess that's it. Who wants to go to spa days with me? Big Ray?
Oh, he's him and Vito. He's one of our talking heads here on the platform. Him and Vito are good friends. They're very pampered and manicured, both of them.
Yeah.
I live in Florida too, but I just go to the pool and hang out there, and then go shopping.
It's but you've been beautiful for a long time. It takes Big Ray lots of work to even be able to go outside. So but
skincare, that's the secret, is French skincare. People always put it on your skin. It's French skincare.
They have been commenting, obviously we've been watching you for a while and you're just as beautiful as when we first saw you. So as I'm sure every lady loves that compliment, but obviously the chat agrees with that. And we were record chat today. We were up to 144, you guys. Thanks for hanging with us. If you're crossover from JCW, whoop, whoop, indeed. This is the Hameen Media Group. You can catch us patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. We are Russo connected and now JCW adjacent. So anytime you guys have anything to promote, we'd love to have you back on. Just let me know. And don't even ask. Just do what you did before. Said, I'm coming on. That's how it is. I was like, hey. She did the walk on in the scene. I'm saying yes and to it. And now I'm going to watch all of your performances so critically because I know where your mind is at. If you're dropping Del Close cult references to me on my show, I can't tell you as our first connection how crazy that is as I have the books within arm's reach of me. Yeah, I was as main stage at IO as you could put me. I was doing late show with Jordan Klepper and Ed Ferrara came on and sent me to OVW. So I went straight from like that level of like, okay, here comes the SNL auditions to fuck it, we're going to ruin our lives with wrestling. So you and I have definitely got some of the same trajectory. So when next time you go out there, no pre-planned bullshit, just be in the moment and you'll steal the show because no one else can do what we can do when we're in the Jedi mindset with that stuff. So
and real quick, I still want Jim Cornette to do a strip off with me. So I'm still inviting him to that strip off. I'm obsessed with calling him corny. So corny needs to step out of the retirement home, out of your fucking wheelchair, into the ring and strip down to a G-string and no top and get paddled by the winner, which would be me.
I actually might have pitched Jasmin St. Clair on a pole match because I saw that you said you hadn't slept with any Juggalo fans. So instead of putting you up on a poll, that the poll actually, I'm not going to go into it, but you know, if it's a Vince Russo on a poll match, you know, let the stakes be high. So.
Well, I want to go on a date with a Juggalo, like seriously. So if they do the netting game, but like reverse, I'll pick a Juggalo and go on a date with him, like wherever it is at the Gathering or Juggalo Weekend or something.
There you go, infidels. You heard it here first. You want a date with Jasmin St. Clair? We're going to try and get that promotion set up here. But make sure you guys are following everything, sharing everything, supporting JCW, because nothing pisses off Triple H more than watching the real numbers go up while their fake numbers go down. So, y'all, you're welcome here anytime on the Monday Locker Room, sis. On behalf of Hameen Media Group, Russo Brand, you know what it is. Here, Hameen Media Group. Y'all.
Japanese.